Hello, my name is Natalya Plourde, and I worked with micropaleontologist Dr. Reed this past summer for the S.U.R.E project. Our project's goal was to determine whether or not the brachiopods and conodont samples that he's collected from Bear Mountain, New Mexico, are going to be viable for strontium analysis. So this is a pre-assessment. We're not actually getting into any of the strontium analysis. We just need to determine the yes or no of it. So first what we got to do is we got to take the samples and assess where we have the best brachiopods and the best conodonts. Now conodonts are microfossils, so what we actually have to do for that is break apart where we have the large brachiopod shells, set them aside, and then we'll take the whole rock, the matrix, and we'll put it in an acid bath, a little diluted acid bath, and we'll break down until we get the insolubles, sand-sized particles that will include some of our conodont elements. So after we've got the conodont elements sitting in their acid bath to be processed, we'll take aside the brachiopods and using a thin section machine, we'll cut in half the brachiopod shells and grind them down onto on a little slip of glass until they're about 30 microns thick. So for comparison, the human hair is about 100 microns thick, give or take. So once we've had our thin sections prepped, again, we are going to be taking the insoluble material from the conodont samples, setting them aside, and we put them in a little cup and we put them on a little petri dish tray, and under a microscope we pick by grain by grain by grain until we find one or two, maybe, conodonts. And in this case, we did find one conodont throughout the entire process of picking, which we were very excited about. So that was able to allow us to move on to the next stage of this project, where we went to UT Arlington, and they generously allowed us to use their cathodoluminescence, the microscopy of the cathodoluminescence properties that they had on that particular instrument. And we were able to place the thin sections under that machine, and what you'll see is on my poster, you'll see in the center these red sample slides, and that's actually the matrix that responds and turns that reddish color, it luminesces. What we're looking for in this project is for it to not luminesce, and those are those dark spots where you'll see that's the brachiopod shell, and that lack of luminescence means that they are unaltered, which is a very good sign for our project. And then of course, if you look at the SEM machine, which is the scanning electron microscope, we actually see a very smooth surface of that conodont shell, or of that conodont tooth element. More on my poster for that. And it actually tells us that it has not been recrystallized. So in the case of this project, we had very good results. Neither of the brachiopods or the conodont samples were recrystallized in any way, which means that the original strontium levels inside of their matrix, so to speak, will be viable for strontium testing. So if you'd like more information about my project, just go ahead and check out my poster. Thank you.